All right, so our first step through the Manifest Destiny module is talking about what Manifest Destiny is and where it began. Manifest Destiny is this idea that the United States should go from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean, and we are doing this because that is what God has intended for this country. That's where destiny comes from. This is coined by a man named John O'Sullivan, who wrote about the reasons for why we should be expanding west. And one of the reasons he gives is creating an empire of liberty, which is kind of contradictory because slave owners wanted to take their slaves west too. So it's not really an expansion of liberty. We're going to look more closely at this cartoon on the right and showing how that shows this idea of manifest destiny later in an assignment. Our movement west began with the Adams-Onis Treaty, which had to deal with Oregon country. Oregon has been controlled by a lot of different countries. The Adams-Onis Treaty was to protect our land interests in this area. We're going to buy Florida for $5 million, which is going to expand, and Spain is going to say, okay, we don't want to have anything to do with Oregon anymore. So that just leaves two countries in control of Oregon, Great Britain and the United States. It's a joint occupation, so citizens from both countries are allowed to live there. One of the ways that people from the United States would get there, very famously, because there's a great game made after it, is by traveling the Oregon Trail, which is like this 2,000-mile dirt road that led from St. Louis to Oregon. And over like a 20-year period, over 400,000 people are going to travel the trail. The United States is going to give Great Britain an ultimatum and say that, hey, either give us the Oregon Territory to ourselves, or we're going to fight a third war with you in the last 50 years. The battle cry is 54-40 or fight, which the 54-40 line is way up today in modern Vancouver. Eventually, a compromise is reached, and the 49th parallel is decided as the separation between Canada and the United States, and that is, to this day, the longest unmilitarized border in the world. So through this compromise, the United States gains control of Oregon and Washington. It sparks off an incredible movement of people, migration of people, across the Great Plains of the United States to Oregon City, which becomes Portland, and some of the other major cities of the West. Sutter's Fort, which kind of becomes San Francisco, Great Salt Lake area, and Santa Fe. We're going to talk more about the involvement of Santa Fe and California and how we gained this territory next. But take a second, answer a few the quiz questions that go along with this first video. If you need to go back and watch the video to answer the questions, that's completely fine. You can take the quiz as many times as you'd like.